Hello, everybody. We are having a rather special event today, so we're starting a few minutes early. Bear with us while we get our technology set up, and hopefully, we will have something that you guys need to see. Okay. Okay.
All right, can you hear me?
We can, and we are live, so no
All
expletives,
right.
even though you feel it. And
Well, I can't promise that because I'm going to be live on the street, everybody.
okay, I
So
already
I
kind of
will.
gave them a warm up in the chat that we might have a live feed from today.
Good, good. So I will do that. I'm just going to put this from the Bremerton PD in the chat if I can. On
Okay.
the road, trying to set this up, everyone. How are you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing pretty good. A little surprised about what's going on down there, but not terribly surprised. We all kind of sort of knew it was coming.
Well, the conversation that the mayor and the police were having with folks that have been down here working is that folks would have until Saturday, right?
Right.
And so there's miscommunication would be the kindest way to put it, but there's a video that the police provided 6 days ago while they were knocking on tents, letting them know on November 1st it'd be unlawful. Uh, and so today is the day, right? And that there was some argument on they were going to give them 72 hours. And, you know, however you look at it, the 72 hours has definitely passed. But we were just feeding here yesterday and we were told Saturday. So uh, folks are definitely caught by surprise.
So, appropriately enough, though this was not the way I was expecting it to go, today's program is called "Gimme Shelter."
Well, hey, um, it is definitely appropriate for sure.
Yeah. So instead of talking about resources, understandings, the stigma that goes with things, we're going to be talking about how the political movement displaces people without offering any kind of solution. So, for those of you who believe that the politicians are going to solve something, this should disabuse you of that.
Absolutely. Would you mind reading what's in the chat? That
Oh,
was
please,
from the Bremerton Police
happy.
Department.
I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the camera, but the chat's over here. So, okay, Sergeant Roback, Officer Trask, Officer Corey, and Navigator Rochelle spent Monday afternoon spreading awareness and educating individuals to the new unauthorized camping ordinance. Their outreach efforts will continue over the next several days. For more information on this ordinance, please visit, and the link is in there. But it's www.codepublishing.co.com /Washington /Bremerton, and then a bunch more things, but you should be able to find it from there.
Perfect.
So, are any of the city council people in place? Are they down there watching this? I guess I just lost Marwan. Okay, so the question on the table at the moment that we hope that Marwan will come back and answer is: Are the city council who passed this ordinance going to be present down there when this happens? To my mind, and I try not to be a rabble rouser too much. I try and be the calm adult voice in the room and talk to people about how we can come together as opposed to being angry and screaming at people. But one of the things that being the adult in the room is hoping that the other people who are acting as adults in the room who are making these decisions will have the responsibility to show up to watch their decisions be implemented and understand the real cost of what they're doing, as opposed to coming together. Now, while Marwan's,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah, you saved me from rambling in these poor people's ears. You there? I can hear you. Obviously, you can't hear me. Okay. Well, Marwan's setting up so that he can do a live cast of this.
Are you able to hear me, Mark?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Marwan? I seem to be broadcasting.
Just trying to get my audio together here.
Okay. Anyway, there are some decisions that have to be made in the very near future. And these decisions have to take into account the long-term economic effects that are creating the situation with homelessness. I think we can bust the hell out of the theory that they're all crazy drug users that are on the streets. When I say 46% of Americans, and this is a number that is not just me making it up, this is a statistic that is provided by by several universities who are doing the study on this. 46%, that's over 150 million people, 1 in 2 Americans are one paycheck away from being homeless. That's the majority. This isn't going away. It's going to get worse unless we start addressing the root cause of it. And we need to come together to do that. We need to do it sooner rather than later, or this, what we're seeing today, is going to accelerate even more into the future. Can you hear me yet, Marwan? Okay, picture of Marwan's finger. Okay. And this is how we do things live on Tipping Points and Puzzle Pieces. Actually, this is the first time we've ever done a live podcast. Though I've been tempted to do some more of it in the near future, but this will be the test run to see if it works. And now you know what Marwan's car looks like. Okay, so Marwan is down on Martin Luther King in downtown Bremerton, right off of Park, where the back door of Salvation Army is, which will be pretty much our one and only Bremerton cold weather shelter. And he's going to be showing the bulldozer and dump truck getting ready to basically clean up the street and remove all of the belongings from the homeless people there. And and you can hear the bulldozer firing up. Okay, and hopefully he'll be able to flip that around, and we'll see the bulldozer on the street. Because of this is live, we're dependent on Wi-Fi, or we're dependent on the cell signal as opposed to our normal internet. So it's going to be a little choppy. There's the bulldozer at the end of the street by the porta potties. There's people sitting in the street. That's the Marvin Williams Center there. Marvin Williams Center there. And I guess we're looking at it from the Salvation Army parking lot. And those are the people who live there, who are living down there trying to scrape out some kind of an existence.
Hey, how you doing, my man? Doing pretty good. How they been looking? How they been looking? Not too great? Not too great. A lot of garbage, a lot of food.
So the porta potty there has been provided by the Rock the Block.
Gather together, grow together.
After a couple of years of trying to get the city to put porta potties down there because of the complaints about the urine and feces, it took an independent group doing it in spite of the city to make that happen. Again, folks, government has a place, but when does that place overreach its duties?
Jimmy, are you on with the stepson? Jimmy, are you on with the son?
Yes, I'm on the Kids Up Sun.
Okay. We're live right now, by the way.
Okay, we are live on GTGT right now, but yeah, David, if someone could come down here and videotape this.
And I hear they
Just
broke the
Gonna
water
call it
main.
there.
Is that true?
And I'm trying to figure out about the water main. There's
Okay.
like all of this unnecessary noise. I think it's from the public works department. Well, it's necessary for whatever they're doing, but I don't think it's correlating with
What's going on here?
what's going
Okay,
on
so
here.
two separate things. Okay.
apparently there's a water main broken
Right.
down on Martin Luther King, but it has nothing to do with what they're doing. That so it's two separate things, but it's complicating the issues.
Mentally disabled people, handicapped that should be in facilities that are not going to be allowed in shelter, or maybe that they should be able to get to shelter.
And apparently, Kimmy Stevens is talking to the Kitsap Sun to get them down to actually cover this.
So that's my take on it.
I'm not terribly cynical, but good luck with that.
When did this start, Kimmy? Hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
If you have a
Whose number? Who? Oh, the boss. Yeah, I do, but I can't give it to you right now because I'm live. I can give it to you after I'm done recording. Is that okay?
And we're just trying to work with the police to figure it out too, because they're sort of seem to be unaware of why we're doing this at noon when the shelter doesn't even open until 7. So the police, being humanitarian, are not following Greg Wheeler's orders this second. But if you call Greg, that would be great, because he doesn't.
I'm hoping you're
answer our
hearing
calls.
this.
So it would be wonderful to get a statement from him on the situation and where these people are supposed to go, especially the ones who are at the reason they're not getting help is because I can't go to court every day of my life because I have to work a full-time job so that I can pay to do all of this work for free. These people shouldn't be mistreated this way. This is totally unconstitutional and inhumane.
So the pictures you're seeing here are Martin Luther King and what's about to happen. Yes,
Yeah.
homeless communities are
Their
a
voice
problem,
for the pets,
but they're a problem that
there's
does not get solved with a
Box,
bulldozer and a
there's
dump truck.
GTG2, there's Rock the Block. All of us that coordinate together are here, but yet we weren't coordinated with by the mayor, who sprung this on us last second and scared all of our people, that constituents in our city who are vulnerable and unhoused. And so now we're scrambling to try to figure out what he's pulling here, because this is really unfair, unprofessional.
It's okay. Fair warning to the listeners of this.
Yes.
I may
Yes, he's on right
say
now in this live stream.
my actual opinion at this point because I'm feeling a lot of really heavy emotions here.
That's where he
The conduit.
the conduit.
Mm-hmm.
You could type in the conduit, and that's where you'll see
Tipping points and puzzle pieces.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is the county in the loop? Does Doug Washburn know what's happening?
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Talk to you later. All right, bye-bye. Call Doug and see if he knows. The county often will say they don't when they often are aware. I'll let it go.
Kimmy, while you're calling Doug, can you give us an update since we just got here? We're broadcasting live down here on ML King in Bremerton. Today is November 1st. The ordinance has gone into effect. What has been communicated to us is that folks would have until Saturday, but there was a video that the Bremerton police did put out that said November 1, people were going to be displaced, and this is what we're seeing right now, is the displacement in real time. And folks are definitely caught unaware and off guard. We do not know, is everyone going into the Salvation Army? Have they done a count? And what's going to happen with those that cannot go in? Are they going to have their tents bulldozed?
From what I'm hearing from the officers, they're having a humanitarian crisis in their own right, where they don't want to follow the orders that Greg Wheeler gave to arrest everyone starting at noon. So they've cleared the Broadway scene, which means they've left the area with no intention to arrest people at this time, because we're down here and they're down here expressing some confusion about what's happening, because it doesn't sound like it's in line with what we've all been told. And we all are fairly intelligent people, so you'd think we would not all be confused right now.
Right.
So what I'm aware of from the officer briefly talking to them is that they can't have camping on here starting today, which is great. But that ordinance says that there has to be an overnight shelter available, which is, I think, why they're backing off, because they've read it with us that it explicitly says that.
Mhm.
So, but even if that when the shelter opens at 7, if they still can't own anything. So all of their earthly possessions, if it's garbage or not to you or them, whatever, it will be gone. I'm assuming. This is all speculation.
Mhm.
This is what's happened from this exact street before. And then whoever doesn't go into the shelter will be approached and asked to go into the shelter. And if they don't want to, then they have the risk of getting a misdemeanor, even if they go in and say they get banned for peeing on themselves or defecating on themselves because they're very medically fragile people, which I've shown for years they are existing down here. Elders, even young people with severe schizophrenia, mental illness, cognitive dysfunction, things that all hospitals and mental facilities can treat, but there's not enough of those treatment beds available.
Right.
So instead of offering them the equity that others are given, like a bed in a hospital or psychiatric facility or a substance use disorder facility, instead we're going to give them misdemeanors, potentially haul them to jail, which will cost more per day to house them than it would just to provide a bigger shelter, or a shelter that can actually manage these extreme situations when in the world there's not enough places to take them.
I'm your huckleberry.
So those people, that's what I'm worried about, is people with the most egregious mental illness, substance use disorder, and elders are going to be the ones targeted, and they're going to be given misdemeanors. And now 3 misdemeanors, if I'm right, is a felony. And then just imagine how hard it's going to be to help them once this to actually get into housing, and you have misdemeanors or, God forbid, a felony. Now I'm trying to get an almost 80-year-old man into housing right now, and he has a felony from his past that was egregious in the past, but he did his time, and it's not a life sentence what he got, but it is a life sentence for housing.
Right.
Because he will not be allowed into any place I've been trying to advocate for him to get into, so he will probably die out here.
So, Kimmy, let me ask you a question. Is it fair to say we're looking at dump trucks, we're looking at a bunch of police officers all over the place on Broadway, which I came down Broadway first and came here, that this was not well planned out, right?
No, this
So-
is never planned out well.
If you can't get everyone into Sally's, then the folks that can't go would need to keep their tent
Exactly.
and their sleeping bags, right?
Exactly.
And then on the other
The
side of
essence
that,
the law says that.
in 6 months, when the shelter closes, are you going to have placement for everyone? And so destroying all of this that has been provided through churches and nonprofits is such a destruction of resources when you can gather all of these resources at the ready,
Yeah.
right? Could the city have not designated a space to store this stuff? Just like a family downsizing,
Yep.
right?
Like many other jurisdictions that have seen a massive decrease in their homelessness by actually providing, like you say, places to store things or hotels. But unfortunately, in Kitsap County, our resources are very limited. And so instead of working on the problem for the last decade, we've just continuously pushed them into the woods, enough to where people like us are getting outraged. And this is ridiculous to do this over and over again. It's absurd to have to do this and raise money year after year when they're not in the game to help us either. So yes, they could do a lot more. This could be done totally differently. I understand this is an eyesore, but it's an eyesore that could have been prevented by multiple different ways of dealing with this other than punitive.
Keep typing your questions in the chat. So the one question was, can you take a picture of the bulldozers and trucks again? Yes, I can. And also, is there a way that their goods can be stored?
Not that I'm aware of. They do use their money. Some of them get money and they get storage units, but 9 out of 10 times they are unable to keep up, because once you get a storage unit, it's like free for a month, then it goes up, then it goes up, then it goes up. I've had one myself, so I know how lucrative that business is. So every month the money goes up, and then they're unable to get it, and then they'll lose everything in the end anyways. There's not a financially feasible way or equitable way for people to store their things.
Well, here's my thought. You've got the Port Orchard shelter that still hasn't started its construction. They have a big outdoor area. This is already weather ready.
Yeah.
Just store it out there, tag it with people's names, put it around a gate, right? And then if people need access to it, then we can deliver it back to them.
Yes, or they had what are those called? Those contracts, those big
Mm-hmm.
metal containers, storage things that they've actually had on site. They do that for Salvation Army because when you are allowed in, you can't bring all your stuff, and you can only have a reasonable amount, which is like a backpack usually, or maybe a couple black bags.
Mm-hmm.
So they will store those for you overnight, and then when you wake up early, 6 a.m, and you have to get out because you're only allowed to be in that shelter. It's not a 24-hour shelter, which is the other problem. So when it's freezing outside, they're supposed to sit out here with nothing because we've destroyed all of it. So now I have to give them another sleeping bag if I just, because my heart is feeling bad for them, not because it's saving money or
sleeping bag and put them in the elevator, so when we get up in the morning at 7, we can have a sleeping bag to wrap around us.
Hopefully, but then when their bed bugs outbreak, that's why I went to Walmart and I bought tons of bed bug stuff, because oftentimes they'll call nonprofits and they'll say, hey, do you guys have any stuff to kill bed bugs with? So there's all of these things that make it so that people put only a few things. You can't have all of this in the box. The box is literally the size of, what is it? It's probably like 20 by 10 feet.
Mm-hmm.
With all these people, you can't keep all their stuff in it. And I know a lot of the stuff is garbage. I get it. But tents and sleeping bags cannot fit, and that's not garbage. That's life survival gear that you need to be in the elements. What if it's raining? What if it's snowing? You're just standing out here without a shelter, without a tent, without a tarp. You can't store that every night. You can't get a new tarp every night.
We have another question. Can we call to one of the corporate storage areas to donate some space?
You could, but we've tried getting donations from things like this, and it's not always easy to do in the short time frame since it's happening the second.
Sounds like we lost feed for a minute. So going on in Martin Luther King now, downtown, there seems to be a lot of confusion. From what Kimmy said, it sounds like a lot of the police officers down there are looking at the fact that the ordinance clearly states, apparently, that there has to be a place for these people to go in a shelter, but then there raises a whole bunch of other questions with that. Since you also just heard that the shelters are for overnight, they don't take a lot of their stuff in, which means when their stuff is cleared, they won't have it when they come out the other end. And that's essentially like, we're going to move you to a hotel and bulldoze your house. And it sounds like the feed is back.
Greg Wheeler's the one that said to come arrest you guys at noon
Let me-
if you're out here.
Let me give you a chance to call Doug. I'll
Yeah.
get some more footage here and I'll come back over.
All right.
Will you ask Doug, let him know that G2
call
is
him,
on
yeah.
the scene and Marwan's ready to transport if need be.
Okay, we'll do.
And then I'll come back around. All right, guys. We are just going to go and capture some more footage of what's going on down here. You could text me, Mark, if everything is still coming through on my other line.
It broke up for a minute, but you're back, and we are following you as
This is what we
you
have
go
going
forward.
on down here in real time. Capture some of this footage here. And unfortunately, I cannot hear you, Mark, so we kind of rely upon you to kind of navigate us through the conversation here.
We have been hearing about land that they're talking about where they could set up
Yeah, so
campsites for
what
these
happened
folks.
was
We are talking
someone
about all
called me
kinds of other things.
and it broke the line.
Period.
So if my phone rings, it'll disconnect me from the live stream, and then I just got to add it back on.
And they
So
seem to be
that's what
jumping the
happened here.
gun. They're not
So
going
as
to
you
take
can
care of
see,
the
they
problem.
are
They're not going to take care of the
scraping and
solution
cleaning
before they
here.
address the problem. It's disgusting.
So I'm assuming people are being asked if they want to go into the shelter. We have quite a few officers out here. There's a lot to do. I didn't get a chance to record coming down Broadway, but I will get over there. The porta potties are just being emptied out. So many of you may not know, but as the executive director of Gather Together, Grow Together, we are the organization that services the porta potties. And so we had to up the service to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday because they were being used so much. And so when you think about that, shout out to Jim Adrian. What he was saying was that if you take the feces and the urine per person per day, that's about almost a pound of feces a day. And you got 80 people. You're talking about 80 pounds of feces every single day. And then gallons and gallons and gallons of urine. And folks were picking it up and shoveling it and putting it into garbage cans. And other folks were just hosing it down the drainage, right? Which can't be good for us. Correct, Mark?
Yeah, that is correct.
So I see Captain over there. Let's
Correct.
go ahead and talk to him and Don Michelle. We also have another officer over here. How you doing, Captain?
Just coming to you. I'm hoping. I went to Mount
I'm
Zion.
live.
Yes.
I'm live. Talk to me about it later.
Yes.
That's
No.
business.
So we're just trying to for that. And
Talk to me about it later. Just put it away.
I told Aaron, I said, let's get
For those of you who don't know, Don Michelle and Kimmy Stevens have they donate their time and work tirelessly to try and help the homeless people. But it's basically a holding movement because, as you see, the forces of our government, which are supposed to support us, is working very hard to just make
Okay.
them go away because
So is that
people
gonna
don't
happen?
like them there.
Yes,
Okay.
they'll store stuff for up to 60 days.
They don't have many.
But we have
Okay.
some known bed bug cases down here. So how are we going to handle that? We're trying to work through that.
Places and
I've had contact with Public Works. They're trying to figure out what those details look like. Public Works
Diatomaceous
come out, bag to bag, itemize, all that stuff. Then they pick it up, take it to the facility, but the people will not have access to it. So they have to know that it's being stored until they get it.
Okay,
And she's working that out. She's supposed to call me back so we can start with this guy here.
okay.
So my question is, why wasn't that already in place before they decided to come and be this disruptive?
I don't know. I don't have those answers.
I mean, we're
Sir.
working backwards for no reason.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Okay.
All right, type your questions in the chat. We are live down on the block. This is Dawn Michelle.
Hey.
So in the chat, they're saying we've been hearing about land, and they're talking about where they could set up campsites for these folks. We are talking about all kinds of other things, and they seem to be jumping the gun. They're not going to take care of the problem. They're not going to take care of the solution before they address the problem. It's disgusting. All right, keep your chats coming. Let's go ahead and keep taking a look over here.
Hey, Fred, can you give that call? Give that number again? That's my number.
You got it.
Okay, cool.
You got it, for sure. All right, we put that away.
This shows a
So everyone
significant
hasn't
lack
had an
of
opportunity to
planning,
take a walk on the block to see what it
period.
looks like. So let's go ahead and do that now.
Being in reaction mode never
Some
solves
folks are trying to get
problems.
their
It
vehicles
just makes bigger ones.
started so that they can keep their homes, and a lot of times their only possessions, right? It's a very sad sight and disgusting all at the same time because this is unnecessary. This is ridiculous. Mark, if you want to filibuster a little bit.
Yeah,
Hey, how you doing? Good to see
I don't
you.
even know what to say about
Yesterday
this.
was my
You
Halloween
know,
outfit.
they have conversations to make everybody look, and then they pull something like this.
It is what
This
it
is not
you know?
the
You all
way you
right?
do business.
Okay,
This
you
is
wanna
not
go
the
in?
way
Yeah,
you
I'm gonna
live
go
your
to the-
lives. That, you know, you have people
All right.
screaming about the feces, you have screaming about the homeless people. Again, let's go back to the
And
statistics.
so what it is, we
One
were
in
feeding
almost
yesterday
two
with Halloween, so we wanted to do a
are
lunchtime
one
feed.
paycheck away from being homeless.
So I dressed up
This is something we have to
and came
address, not
down and
hide.
fed the
You know,
masses.
we've been doing the same thing with climate change for
And
decades
part
and
of it is
decades,
creating
and it's
relationships,
basically going to end
right?
up biting us right
But
square in the
this is
behind,
insanity.
and
I'm just on the
to
backside
such an
here.
extreme degree. And this is part of it. This is part of the same
Stop here for a
cultural
second.
brokenness that we have,
Go ahead,
we
Mark.
see
You
all
can
the time.
continue.
So this is the brokenness we see all the time. This is how our culture reacts to things. Hide what makes us feel uncomfortable. Don't face what crisis is on the line, and eventually we all start sinking together. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be lifting each other up. We need a different future, and it only is going to happen when we come together and start having a conversation and tell our politicians what we want to do. Positive, solution-oriented things. But we have to come together first. I'm not even going to say tell our politicians, tell our representatives, because politicians don't represent, they rule. And that's got to stop. This is an overstep in a huge
All right, so
way,
the porta potties have been
with
emptied.
no real honest
Good.
discussion about solving
Seems like we have
a
every
problem.
police officer in Kitsap County down
So
there
we'll
right
go back
now.
to listening now.
I mean, every police officer. All right, let's keep going. Oops, sorry about that.
So this is going to be a continuing live feed.
Go ahead, type your questions
It'll
and
switch
comments in the chat.
It'll switch over to the conduit
Officers, how you doing?
as soon as,
Good to
as soon
see
as
you.
we're done.
All right, I'll try to get
This
some more
is what
information
happened.
on what happened with this potential water main.
So this is what happens when
And
people
what
don't have a
happened here,
voice.
I'm
And the
getting
fewer and
reports
fewer
that it
people
was
that
not
have
related.
voices, the more you're going to see abuses, and the more you're going to see the situation that created homelessness, which is our economic dependence on a
So this is what we
unregulated
have.
capitalistic
It is
model.
November 1.
And
The ordinance goes into
you know,
effect,
this is
and
not
Salvation Army does open tonight. However,
wait
as you
until
can
Marwan.
clearly see, these folks aren't ready to go into the shelter, right? So, however it was communicated, there is video that shows that they were saying that this was going to happen on the 1st. But again, for those of us that are working down here on a daily basis, that was not what was communicated with us. And so you heard that from Kimmy, you've heard that from Dawn. So it is tremendously frustrating. We want to get people squared away, get them off the street, but this is not the way to do it.
So this is our life these days, folks. For those of you who've never seen
So
it, I
there's
suggest you
plenty
watch
in
the
the
movie
distance
Soylent
there.
Green, where people are waiting for food that, since there's no more food produced, then people are waiting for food, and they come in with bulldozers to shove them out of the way, so the very few that could actually get fed. You know, this is how people get treated now because it is an inhumane culture.
Designated trash is that. That's oil well from 2004. They've already got this from Watersboro.
Do we know what happened out there with the water?
What happened with water?
Yeah, with the cone.
Probably 204 knows. Definitely 204 knows.
Okay, so as you're watching the picture and listening to the conversation in the background, I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Okay, so what's going on down at Martin Luther King right now is there was an ordinance put through the city council about camping. One of the caveats in the ordinance was that there would be shelter for these people. But that shelter is 24 hours. It's not going to, and 24 hours into the shelter and all their stuff disappears. You've got people on the street with nothing, trying to live. And, you know, unless you look in your heart and say that I don't think these people have a right to live, which is really inhumane, you got to be a little bit, you know, concerned about this because it could be you. I mean, there's a famous poem about, you know, they came for the Jews and I did not act because I wasn't a Jew. They came for the socialists and I didn't act because I was not a socialist. I came, and it goes down the line, and then they came for me and there was nobody left to stand and speak for me. We need to stand together. We don't need to have a revolution. We don't need to, you know, go down and club police officers or do anything like that. That's ridiculous. What we need to do is stand together and tell our representatives to represent all of us, not just the few that they deem as special because of their money. So this is what our life is looking like. This is what 1 in 2 of us is likely to have happen to us in the next decade. So this is where we're heading.
Captain's still out here.
I think we've got pretty much an idea of it. If you want to go down to Martin Luther King and lend your voice and your presence, that would be a really good thing. As I say, be the adult in the room. Show that you care about people, and send a message to the mayor and to the city council that this isn't really an acceptable way of doing things. We don't react to situations by burying them. We react to situations by planning real solutions. And I know that's not something we talk about much anymore. We talk about blaming. We point fingers at people, we other people. But it's time, past time, for us to start coming up with solutions. And we can. They are there. I promise you they're there. We just have to sit down together. And I'll put one push in. Come join us on Sunday at Tipping Points and Puzzle, or at the Cups Cafe in downtown Bremerton, and let's talk about what community can look like. And we will talk to you soon. I will let Marwan know that we are to switch to the conduit.
That's coming into Sally's, right? They need as many volunteers as
1 second,
possible.
folks.
If you want
Keep
to make
watching
a
and
difference,
listening.
Sally's is hiring a multitude of positions. They need a tremendous amount of help. Yeah, I agree. This shows a significant lack of planning. Being in reaction mode never solves problems. It just makes bigger ones. Absolutely agree with that. Mark, if you want, you could type in the regular chat or the private chat. I can see it either way, whichever is easier for you. No, don't
right.
end the show. Keep it live.
Oh,
I can't restart it. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay. We will be keeping the show live. 1 second, I'm going to sign off and talk to Marwan, and I will be right back with you.
All right, you can see in the distance, Mark, that hold on, I think you're calling me. You are calling me. Hello? Hold on. I'm gonna call you back. Hey, how you doing? I'm live. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, if you kill it, I can't go back live. So just leave it live for me and just drop off. If you got to go. Yeah, but then I'd have to go out and come back in. It's just easier. Just keep it live for me. Hey, I appreciate it. Now, Kitsap Sun is following our feed right now live. Okay. Got you. All right. Now I will work on that. Perfect. Hey, I appreciate you. You got it. Bye. All right, guys, I'm going to leave the camera going. I'm going to just step away just for a hot second. I'll be right back.
All right, all. I'm going to step out and leave this live. The Kitsap Sun is following the podcast, and I'm hoping you all are hearing him. And we will just keep going and make this the show for the day. It's going to be all Martin Luther King all the afternoon, and Marwan will keep it broadcasting. Talk to you soon. I'm signing off.
All right, let me get some regular footage since I'm being told we're not doing too great with the video. So we'll go ahead and get some other footage here. So we've got the real team. We've got Dawn Michelle from Rocks Blocks. We have the police. We're coordinating a ride to get someone to treatment in Oak Harbor. So we're getting another person off the block. We got Captain Lance down there. And so, we're doing what we can. Although, getting caught off guard here. But it is November 1 and the ordinance is in effect. And there goes the C2 van. Drive safe, sir.
Will do.
Okay.
See you. Talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Whatever you can do that. That's the goal. The goal for us is not to get that.
No, you were smacking it with Frank because I was standing there.
I like talking.
Specific check-in times that add extra barriers in trying to get services for people. So that could be pretty frustrating. All right, so why don't we go ahead and drive up? I don't know where Kimmy is.
Great. Great.
Right here. There are so many
But when we get to it, it's so disheartening and disappointing. You can't. You can't even make it. So to hear you guys, say that.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Good.
Yep.
Doing good.
Oh, that one. Okay. Like the one that's you have to feel the heart.
You got it.
Yes. Here, I'll open it for you. I'll open it because I can't. I'll show you. There's not a lot in it.
Jill, there's an entire sideline. I just saved all of your life. Oh, shit. Look at him. He's like, I ain't moving. Oh, I got you. Okay. Marlon is setting you up, man.
We'll put a little Betsy up.
Sure, it's beef truck. I'll play for titles. We'll play for titles. Just so I can see later.
All right, we're gonna get out of here. Let's go up to Broadway, see what's going on up there. Dawn Michelle might be up there, so we can go and check out and see what's happening up there. But right now, it's kind of quiet. I don't really know what they're gonna do. I will try to come back a little bit later on. At the same time, it's City Council tonight, so this is gonna be quite the Wednesday, unfortunately. But we will do what we can. Sure, there's gonna be a lot to say tonight at City Council. All right, so let's head on over there.
Oh, all right.
Hanging in there?
Hey, man, what's up?
Not too much. So I take it you're about to be super busy here,
Yeah,
trying to
it's
get people
getting
situated.
more busy. I think as far as shelter, squared away, just making people eligible that had been ineligible.
When are you gonna start processing folks in? 7 as usual?
Yeah, people are welcome to come in now, and we're doing 3 meals a day. Then shelter opening up at 7.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's 7-ish. Depends on how the Connex and the check-in of their personal stuff there goes, and then how that flows.
Gotcha. Oh, is this the Connex you use here?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have shelving in there and
Oh, nice.
alphabetical, and we tag people's things so that we try our best not to misplace lose.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, do what you can. Man, November 1st came fast.
it has. Yeah,
It's here. Well, we'll make it.
yes, we are. And we're helping who we can.
That's it. All right, so let's head up to Broadway. Good to see you. All right. Sorry about that transition there, folks. All right, let's get into the car here. Turn this. It's not in the way. Let's head up to Broadway. See what we can see up there. All right, so we're gonna head up to Broadway, see what's going on up there. Looks like the dump truck is back, coming onto the block here. It'll come into view momentarily. There it is passing. Got the U-Haul truck. They're loading up people's stuff. All right. Here we are on Broadway here. The police were down here, but now it's quiet. And mainly because all of the officers are down on ML King. At least the majority of them. As Captain Lance was saying, the shelter is open. Folks can go in now, but as you can clearly see, it's going to take a while to pack up belongings. They also have to process who is eligible or ineligible to go into the shelter. Some people need to go to detox, and so we're working on coordinating that if they're ready to go. Again, these things were already known previously, and so I think there was a lack of planning here, especially when you hear about storing people's belongings, especially for those that may not be able to come in, or they can come in but they've got too many things. If bed bugs could be an issue. Lots to consider here. Lots to consider. And if you have seen inside some of the tents, there is quite a bit that is accumulated by individuals. And I'm not referring to those that are hoarding bicycles and other things like that. We saw some of that on camera, but I'm talking about just people amassing things to survive, right? Still the bare minimum. But if we think about our bedrooms, we probably have quite a few items in there if we were to all of a sudden to pack up a 10 by 10 space of shelving, right? Everything is in there. You can see we have folks that are unhoused on 6th Avenue, right next to the 7-Eleven here. So it is spilling out everywhere, literally everywhere. See if we're being blocked down here. Nope, we're not being blocked. And let's go down here. Get one more look of what it looks like here. The rain is starting to come, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. You know, what are you going to be able to do? Just got to do the best that we can, unfortunately. So that's pretty much it. Hey, Dawn, do you have that with you? Dawn! Hey, Jocelyn, do you have that with you?
Yes. Let me get it to you.
Okay.
Got somebody behind you.
I'll turn around. Hey, Jocelyn.
Hey.
That's Jocelyn. Prayer Warriors. Doing her thing. Let me turn around in here. That is. Okay. Emergency Disaster Services, Salvation Army.
At one point, we also a fundraiser together and build them a fence to keep. They would have just torn out. There was.
I was looking for you.
So apparently, the other day, Don Michelle came out with the yellow tags, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so they had yellow tags, some stuff for them to pick up. Well, whoever city that was picking it up with their equipment, they broke the water line. So it wasn't like a homeless person like doing anything
Gotcha.
nefarious to their like city equipment.
But was it the city that did it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Trying
or
to clean
whoever
up?
was picking up the garbage, yeah. The what do they call it?
Are we gonna jump on a meeting later on?
I have a meeting in 10 minutes with the hospital about a different person who's end of life, and I have to be the one to decide when that day comes.
Wow.
Because I'm the guardian. That's why it's hard for me to become a guardian for more of these people, because it's so important to make good decisions, you know, for people at this part, and it's hard to make good decisions when there's chaos like this.
It is chaos. Well, hopefully
yeah,
we can get together later.
Yeah,
and then we could broadcast out and just tell the community what's going on.
Yeah.
And give them an update.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll be here.
All right.
I'm gonna go charge my phone.
Let me get out of their way. All right. So you're listening. You heard from Kimmy Sibbins there. That's an update. And there's so many different things that have to take place, right? I mean, deciding when to end a life. That's tough, right? That's a hard thing to do when you have to be the decision maker on that. So, you know, that's one of the decisions, one of the choices. Oh, wow, that's heavy. All right, so now I will sign off. And we will come back to you soon. Thank you for being a part of Tipping Points and Puzzle Pieces with Mark Boatwright Frost and myself, Marwan Cameron. This is The Conduit. We will be back at 5:30 for City Council. We may have breaking news where we come in and give you updates as to what's going on. Okay? All right. As always, take care of yourself and each other. Bye-bye.